Hello, IceCap fans. It's Friday, the 2nd of October, and outside the Glen Mill Inn here in Corner Brook, I'm St. John's play-by-play broadcaster Brian Rogers with the hockey prop Brendan McCarthy of the Telegram. Well, here we are, Brand, as the week continues on. It's Game 2 of the Colemans Cup tonight at the sold-out Corner Brook Civic Centre, the first sellout at the Corner Brook Civic Centre since Herder action in 2007. So we'll have a real good crowd, and I think tonight maybe a little more slanted toward the St. John's IceCaps. Last night in Stephenville, a 3-2 Marley victory. They scored with 28 seconds left to get that win. And when the puck went in the net, courtesy of Patrick Watling, there was a pretty good roar at the Dome in Stephenville.
Oh yeah, you're going to get your share of Leaf fans, although I think it was the Canadians won the jersey battle last night at the Dome. But a good crowd there as well. I think it seats around 1,300. And they said it was between 1,600 and 1,700. Every standing room space was filled there. As I said, the only place that didn't have a fan in them were the penalty box, the Zamboni entrance, and the fire entrance where the dressing rooms were. So it was a good turnout, and glad to see that they're going to be appreciated here tonight as well, the Leafs and the Canadians.
Yeah, that's nice to see. You're a Newfoundland Labrador, and you fully well know that for the most part, the general population of this great island into the Big Land and Labrador are probably 60-40 Habs Leafs. There's a smattering of Bruin and Red Wing fans.
There's a lot of Red Wing.
But we've been together forever, so we patched it up a long time ago. Morgan Ellis, a great game last night for the IceCaps. A veteran rear guard scored 1 or 2 goals. Jeremy Gregoire scored late in the first to give St. John's a 1-0 lead. They ran into some penalty problems in the second, and Toronto capitalized.
Yeah, and you mentioned last night they lost their momentum. Their first goal, when I say the Marlies' first goal didn't come on the power play, but just as Nick Blanchard was stepping into the penalty box onto the ice. So one of those quasi-power play goals, we call it. The second one was a definite power play goal, and they lost the momentum there. They got a little bit back when Ellis tied it up a fine shot on the IceCaps' own power play in the third period, and then kind of an unfortunate goal, everybody would say. And I'm going to be unfortunate because of the timing and the fact that it made the IceCaps a loser in the last minute when Watson scored for the Marlies.
Yeah, it was Eric Bradford that got Toronto on the board, and then Matty Rupert gave Toronto the lead on the power play to make it 2-1. And, of course, the late goal by Watling broke that 2-2 tie, and Toronto victorious in Game 1 of the Colemans Cup. So Game 2 tonight, Sylvain Lefebvre, lineup changes. He and his coaching staff are going to insert some we'll call the gunners. Daniel Carr will be in there tonight. He scored 24 goals last season to lead all Bulldogs scores in that department. And also, we'll see Bud Holloway for the first time tonight. Gabriel Dumas, who has been the captain of the hockey club for 4 seasons now, is in. And so a little tinkering going on, and of course Christian Thomas will be in there again for the first time in this series tonight.
I always find it interesting who gets scratched early on, and it's kind of like we said, the reverse thing, that if you get scratched, maybe not a bad sign. It means that your position's pretty good. Last night was almost all veterans. Tonight I think Sherbak is out of the lineup as well.
Nikita Sherbak is out, yes. And Jeremy Gregoire,
the goal scorer. Ellis is in. Joel Hanley is out of the defensive corps. Interesting. Mike McCarron, who last night centered 2 rookies for them. Well, I guess, 2 rookies, because Sherbak and Eisenschmidt, the tryout, were on his wings. Now he gets a couple of veteran wingers.
Yes.
He's going to see how he played pretty well last night, McCarron, for a guy who's learning the center ice position. He won a key face-off on that power play goal by Ellis in the third period. So it's going to be interesting to watch his development. He's got great size. And again, watching guys get a little showcase. I think it's going to be Tim Bozon tonight. He gets onto that second line with Holloway at center, so he's going to get a real good shot there at a look-see. And Sylvain Lefebvre said they're going to have a look at everybody in camp, and these guys, he mentioned Bozon and Eisenschmidt to me as guys that he's paying close attention to as to being on the bubble of the roster. And it's interesting because it was kind of a lead-in. And here was Eisenschmidt last night with Sherbak and McCarron, a big spotlight on him. And tonight it's going to be Bozon with Bud Holloway. He's going to be counted on as a scorer in this team in the middle.
Yeah, there's no question about that. Anthony Maselli will also continue his ascent here with the top. But good good young skater. I liked it. Greg Wari scored a lovely goal. He got the first ice cap goal of the new era, kind of speak. I know it's preseason. That is the Colemans Cup, but still, you can see why he had success at the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League level. Let's talk about the goaltending. Eddie Pasquale, ice cap fans from Corner Brook, Newfoundland, Labrador, up to the big land and into Metro St. John's know what Eddie was like. The reigning Eddie chants coming out. Eddie was steady last night. We didn't have an official shot clock total, but we're figuring Eddie made 16, maybe 17 saves, and he looked square to the shooter and bouncing back after that hip disaster of the last 2 hockey seasons.
He was, and he came out midway through the game. A little surprised by that, with 3 games, but it could be a case of where he and Zach Fucale are going to get an even split with 2 games left in this series. He was solid, and then those who followed Eddie Pasquale were glad. Especially because, Eddie's, one of the drawbacks with Eddie was that he gave up that one early on that kind of, was a bit of a head hanger.
Used to be, yeah.
Had to go in that way, and there was none of that last night. So good for Eddie. This is going to be an interesting situation. Another one of those sidebar stories. What's going to happen with the goaltending here whenever another goaltender, I think it's going to be Mike Condon, comes down from Montreal. There's a battle on the go up there. It looks like in the backup position behind Carey Price. What's going to happen with the backup down here as a result? Is it going to be Fucale, who's going to kind of learn the ropes at the AHL level, or is he going to go down to Brampton and play a lot?
Well, there you have it, folks. So there's lots of questions to be answered, and I know to a man, the players are excited to play in front of a solo crowd here tonight in Corner Brook. Looking forward to Gander on Sunday afternoon, and I think to a man, they all can't wait to get back to St. John's to get acclimated to where they're going to live and where they're going to play. And that's important this time of year because the season begins in earnest next Saturday at the XL Centre in Hartford. But Brendan, it's a big day today. Just in a few hours' time, when the Corner is going to take place. The IceCaps heavily involved with the Children's Smith Foundation. Maybe you can kind of lead us down to what's going to happen here this afternoon.
Well, there's a young man, his name is Scott Delaney. He's from Stephenville Crossing originally. But he's been in Corner Brook for the last number of years. He's been part of the Western Kings AAA midget program here under Angus Head. Played the last 2 years, but at the age of 14 was diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. And me especially is something I can relate to. I know what he might have gone through in terms of treatment and whatever. He had to spend months at the Janeway Hospital, then back and forth and back and forth. Thankfully, he's in remission. His chemotherapy, I think, ended about a year ago. So he was back. He's playing with the Kings. That midget career is over with. He's had a couple of tryouts at the Maritime Junior Hockey League level. Hasn't worked out, but he's going to school here at the Grenfell campus of Memorial University here in Corner Brook. And he had a wish, and as I mentioned in my story, you hear about it when this Children's Wish Foundation, a great thing. Absolutely. And a lot of kids have their wish. They go on a Disney cruise, or they go to Disney World, or they go to a big league game, or whatever. He wanted something different. He wanted to get some NHLers to come here and just have, first of all, just to have a skate with him. And one of the reasons he wanted to do that was because it brings some focus on the work of the Children's Wish Foundation locally, but also he wanted to bring some focus on the work of the people back at the Janeway who helped him. And it just kind of happened that with the IceCaps having their training camp here, so many former NHLers taking part as members of the coaching staffs or the support staffs of both the Mermaids and the IceCaps, that it was going to be an opportunity for a number of former NHLers to take part. So he's going to actually have a game here this afternoon where he's going to have the NHL alumni. Rob Ramage is going to be there. So
Marty LaPointe is
Marty LaPointe, that's right.
Exactly. Getting ready for the pregame.
That's right. Who else? We have Sylvain Lefebvre, Donald Crane, the coaching staff here, Gordon Deneen from the Marlies coaching staff. I mean, it's just a great opportunity. He's going to take on a team comprised of Scott and some of his friends, some of his Western Kings alumni. He wanted some of the Kings to be able to play in this game, but they're going to be on the road for the provincial AAA midget season. But again, just to bring some focus on the work done by, first of all, the Children's Wish Foundation, and then by the people people who work through in hospitals throughout this province, but especially those at the Janeway Hospital. So a real great kid. I know he's a little bit nervous about it. I think he's a little bit nervous about it, but he's the right to be. There's going to be a lot of focus, but people are going to be feeling positive about it. They already are. It's going to be interesting to see what happens.
Absolutely. Well said, Brendan McCarthy. And we wish Scotty nothing but the best. And my man, he's dealt with some stuff over the years, but he's back next to me, and I couldn't be happier. We go way back, and we'll be together forever as long as the Lord lets us call hockey games. So it's an exciting day.
I got to break that news to Audrey now.
Okay, well, there you go. Sorry, bud. Yeah. Better send her flowers and candy. candy, baby, and get it done this afternoon. But anyways, it's a good day, and on behalf of IceCaps here, the Williams Family Foundation, there will be a presentation of a checkmate, I believe, to the Western Health. That'll happen sometime today, and all in all, folks, it's just great to be a provincial team and be here on the West Coast, wrapping up the 2 games here, and then back to Gander on Sunday afternoon. Brendan and I will have the pregame show from the Corner Brook Civic Centre at 7 o'clock. Drop of the puck is 7:30. Game 2 of the Colemans Cup. The St. John's IceCaps, the Toronto Marlies. Have a great day, IceCap fans. Don't forget to tune in on www.stjohnsicecaps.com or 9:30 CJYQ St. John's. This is Newfoundland Labrador, our flagship radio station. Have a wonderful day and a better weekend, everyone.